Good evening. We didn't get to it on the heavy weapons stream, unfortunately. I got carried away talking about all that mega. But we're going to open up that Fortnite GL rocket launcher because I want to play with it. Before we do, let's see what else is out there for firing rockets. At least what's out there that people can get their hands on easily. We have this classic, the Demolisher. This one's really handy. You basically have kind of a strife firing elites, and then you have a rocket down here if you need it. Now, all the Nerf rockets are fired using HAMPs, which means it is fired by having a lever, pulling really hard, and the air forces the rocket out. So the performance of the rocket is really dependent on how hard you can slam that firing mechanism, which makes rockets not super great for kids. In my experience, they don't typically go very far. Even with an adult, it can vary. Carrying that a bit further, you have this modulus 3-in-1 blaster, the Tri-Strike. It has a rocket launcher up here. Again, it is a HAMP where you put this part out here and ram it in really fast to your shoulder like that, or do one of these moves to fire that rocket out of there. Again, it works, it's just not the most consistent. The nice thing about this is this can come off and go onto almost any blaster with a rail and a stock point. This isn't a rocket, but I am going to mention that this barrel attachment, come off. This barrel attachment on the Tri-Strike is one of the coolest. For mega darts, the mega darts, unlike the rockets, work a little bit better with the HAMP system, just where they're smaller. I keep saying HAMP, I should clarify, that means high airflow manual plunger, I think, which just means we do that to fire around. So this Tri-Strike is pretty cool, and it comes with parts that can go onto your other favorite blasters if that bolt action isn't your thing. You can put this on you can put all this stuff on a Strife. Getting closer to the Fortnite GL rocket launcher, I promise. We have this cool looking Fortnite blaster, which again works the same way, no spring. It's a HAMP as well. How hard you can do this is how hard you can fire the rocket. It works okay. It does look really cool. This is a Meaker MK28. Now, what makes this cool is you can't buy this off a shelf, but this is a kit from Meaker Arms. I printed this, converted a Nerf Rival Knockout, and you're firing a rocket using a spring. So you actually get more consistent results. I'll show you what it looks like to fire from this and the Fortnite GL later. I know what you're thinking, Anthony, that intro was so long, but I want you to see what rockets it's up against, and hopefully it's worthwhile. Let's take a look at the Fortnite GL. Ta-da! This thing looks amazing. I've seen some really cool paint jobs, and the best part about this is if you can get it on a good sale, it comes with 6 rockets. Rockets are super expensive. It's like $17 for 4 Nerf rockets right now in Canada. That is insane. So this comes with 6, and I wanted this thing for looks. Let's open it up and we'll talk about it more after. Woohoo! All right, so some assembly required. I figured I would do that on camera so you can see. This thing does, it does look really cool. I'm looking forward to getting it together, and I'll talk a little bit more about the ergonomics of it once I have a better feel for that. This is a little floppier than I was expecting, but I'm not going to judge it yet. We have all of our cylinders here to clip in. You know what? Shame on me, but I'm going to look at these instructions really quickly. I get really nervous about clipping on plastic sometimes, and I just want to make sure there's not some funky thing about it. Align chamber with the curved indentation. Okay, I don't think there's anything super funky about this. I think we're just clipping them in. And that is all there is to it. We're just lining these up with the obvious side forward with the actual plunger. And then there are some grooves for this to fit into. So right away, I'm going to say adult assembly on this one. Oh, well, you know what? I didn't have this completely seated, and I didn't really notice, and that might have made it all harder. So let's see. Well, yes, that was making it a bit harder, but it's still a pain. But I think I have it. All right, so make sure that first one is flush with the top of this rotating cylinder, or else it's going to be a bad time. I can't imagine there haven't been a few of these broken during the assembly.
Oh, whoa.
Look at how bent this one is. Oh no. Are all of these kinda... I guess there's enough room, it doesn't matter. But I don't like how bent that is. And it wasn't me that bent it. Yeah, this is bent so much that there's actually like stress marks underneath that post. Come on. It's together and it rotates. Let's slide this on the back. And I know some people have just left this front piece off so that you can just easily load anywhere, but I'm not really considering this the most effective weapon on the field. So for looks, I'm gonna put this front guard on. That does mean it can only be loaded through these ports, but that's okay. That was a pain, but this looks really cool. A few quick things now that I'm actually holding this blaster. This is a little bit looser and wigglier than I would have liked. So for firing, you want to pull that back hard to fire, and then when you return it out, it rotates it. I mean, it works well enough. It kind of looks like this part is supposed to be a sight through. It would have actually been kind of neat if this had been a hole for sighting through. Not that you're being super accurate sighting in this thing, but that might have been a nice little touch. But you can see over it well enough. Obviously, the stock is way too small to even be a stock. I wish it was a little bit longer. I'm hyper extending just to hold it against. If it had just been a few inches longer, maybe I'll add some sort of foam to take this out a couple inches, because that would make quite a difference. But I mean, most of the time, you're not going to be shouldering it. I'd heard that the paint's a little sloppy because, I mean, this has been out for quite a while. I'm just doing it now because I had one in a box because I got it on sale. I think it looks okay. It is a bit messy around the paint. This would be a cool one to paint and make look really custom. Oh, I put this on. No, it just doesn't really slide in well. Little sloppy for what you're paying. From a distance and up on a wall, this is gonna look awesome. Let's put some rockets in it and see how it works. Load our precious rockets in over the posts, like so. And I'm gonna put in a couple, and then I don't know that I'm gonna fire all of. Oh, I'll do it. Whatever. I'll do it for the reviews. I do have to say, the barrel that was kind of misshapen, I can't even tell which one it is now that it's all clipped together. So that's kind of good. Those are in. Let's give this a quick try before I turn it around so you guys can see the bunker that I'm firing at. I mean, they're all over the place, but that's rockets. Got to be kind of firm on returning this handle up here. I think a kid would have a really hard time operating this. All right, let's try to hit the bunker. Now, I am doing this left-handed, but you'll get the idea. We hit it a couple times. I even hit that target. Now let's see it against that Meaker build. Yeah, I missed, but I feel like this actually had better pop. So there you go. I mean, the rockets are all over the place, but that's kind of what rockets are like. Although, as you saw, that Meaker MK28 is a much more consistent way to fire rockets if you needed rockets in a game. But this is a lot of fun, and it does give you 6 shots. I'm happy to have it just because I think it looks really cool. I do like the look of the Fortnite blasters. And before I wrap up, I just want to talk for a second on the role of rockets. Will we see rockets kind of going away in games? Will Mega XL kind of take over. Yes and no. I think there's some games that before I would have used rockets for objectives. Now I would run and have run Mega XL instead of rockets just because they're so expensive and I just don't want to destroy them. I mean, these are still expensive too. But I'll still be doing lots of games where these are separate. You know, to me, if Mega is a shield buster, this hits somebody, takes out their shield and still tags them. A rocket is for bases and bunkers. I think there's still a place for rockets. I still really like them because they're even bigger and even goofier than Mega XL. And that's why we like Mega XL, because it's big and goofy. The bigger and goofier, the better. I can't wait to get my Titan working so I can have even bigger and goofier than this. I still think there's a place for rockets. They probably will get used less and less in games, but let's hope they don't completely disappear. In the meantime, this is going to look awfully good up on the wall. So while it's not as practical as its cousin, the Boom Dozer, as far as firing 6 bigger than normal darts, and it's not as accurate as a Meaker MK28 for firing rockets, I know I'll find a place for this in games for sure. Just not too many because I want to save those rockets. I hope this helped. If you were on the fence about getting this one, I would say get it if you like the look of it. I don't know that I would get it if you're hoping to use it a lot, unless you play with groups that really value rockets and will for some time to come. And then this might be kind of cool to have in your arsenal. Maybe the next time I review something, it won't be something that's been out so long, but I enjoy this too. It's always fun to open up a blaster and try it out for the first time. Obviously, or I wouldn't be doing this. One thing to note, people have been doing some cool integrations to these. Dr. Flux has a video that I'll link to below that actually takes this, integrates it with a mag strike, and uses a compressor and an air gauge, which changes this from a HAMP to something cooler. I just wanted to mention that so you guys can check it out because I found the video he did on that pretty cool. I also want to add, after firing this a few more times, a lot of my rockets bounced off the barrel before they came out, which did not help with the accuracy to begin with. The barrel of this is about the same as the Meaker barrel. The tip of the rocket is already out of the barrel on this, whereas this, there's a lot of room to drag. Another thing to note. Just trying to make this review kind of complete since it's so late. Bye, guys.